Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today for 2025 we're doing something a little bit different with SP Reviews. If we switch over to here, this marks the first SP Reviews which it's probably not a dedicated like a dedicated Fiverr review video. I've stopped uploading the reviews from Fiverr onto YouTube. Time will tell whether that was a sensible decision, but for now we have BAND-MAID and we're going to be checking out their track titled Forbidden Tale. Now I have checked out quite a bit of BAND-MAID stuff in the past. At the end of this video, as well as in the link in the description, there'll be a link to the previous BAND-MAID video that I've made, which will actually probably be the extended live stream that we did at the end of October, I suppose. You know, this is chat time. So if you want to check out more of my stuff from BAND-MAID, that'll be links in the description. But for now, we're going to be checking out Forbidden Tale, the most recent track from BAND-MAID as of the time of recording, and we're going to listen through it from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. And if you do like this review, please feel free to like and subscribe. But in the meantime, let's go. Let's do it. It's great to revisit their stuff. Quite a gentle build with those guitars. And this is fantastic that we go half. Do I double time here? I mean, it's just a really tight instrumental performance, isn't it? Don't worry, I'll try not to pause too much, but it's just great to hear another track from this band and to know it's consistent with the rest of the other material that I've heard. The guitar and the tremolo picking is pretty insane. Great run there. It's just such a range of different styles that we have within this. There is at least 4 to 5 specific alternate genres that you could prescribe to it. I feel as if we go through them effortlessly, even if they're quite different. And back to the riff, the most important part, arguably. There's a lot to digest within this piece. It's a song where I feel like I would need to listen through it a few times to really get a gist of everything that they're trying to put into it. But I'm going to have a think about it, and we're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named BAND-MAID titled Forbidden Tale. And this is a song that I have, I've decided to just listen through it for my own interest. Primarily because I do appreciate what BAND-MAID does. They're a phenomenal band. They're tight with their instrumental performances. The songwriting across the board for the most part is really fulfilling. And I just appreciate the effort that they put in. What do I think this track is about? I feel as if it's a band or like a person trying to, like when it discusses a forbidden tale, it's saying, hey, you know, this thing that we have, keep reaching out, even though maybe you're trying to communicate that we can't be together, even though you feel like you're in darkness and things are sort of surrounding you. I get the feeling that they get their sense of a fulfillment from existing with this other person, the one that they're speaking to there. They discuss like the cherry blossoms and everything like that, like the world they're crafting together, almost a fantasy to describe it. But, you know, when they talk about the words coming to light and everything like that, it's almost like saying when we are open with our feelings about this, things will work out and you can hear the voice. And what I appreciated is that there was a harmony with that voice part. But yeah, it's just a song where even if the message is maybe a little bit kind of fluffy, it's still heartfelt and it seems genuine. And I think a lot of people get a lot of, they take a lot of heart with what BAND-MAID are trying to do with the music and the stories that they tell. So I think it's well sold. And I feel like the poetry involved, the wordplay, as well as the iteration of those main hook lines and the faith in their chorus is compelling. The vocals are tight. I appreciate the main lines there. I think that we had solid vocal technique. It's a consistency and quality in effect that we've had throughout the discography that we've heard through so far on the channel. And I appreciate that they are continuing to provide that for us whilst exploring their own avenues, you know, trying collaborations with bands like The Warning or whatever they're called. You know, I don't mean that dismissively. It's just I'm not sure if it's Warning or The Warning. But I enjoyed that track as well. But I appreciate that they can stand on their own. And we had backing vocals as well, especially in that voice part, which I mentioned earlier, which were really cool. And it's just a fun, like they're putting emphasis on certain words that need to be heard. And they're playing with expectations. And there's changes in the rhythm of the phrasing of some of the words as well, like in some of the swing triplet sections, such as in that later third there, where they go da ba da da ba da da, and then they go back to a straight 4/4 in other parts there, and they phrase themselves in a way that makes sense alongside the drum parts, some of the arpeggiated guitar parts, the bass, etc. You know, there's a solid groove and fundamentals are being adhered to, and we are very colorful with our harmonies and main melodies, and we explore different options throughout the track, but not in the way where it ever sort of alienates the listener. They're all connected regardless of the different styles of music that are on display. So I feel like the vocals are well handled, and I think the expression and the build at the end of the chorus leading into it, and the different expressions depending on the part of the track or what we're discussing, whilst not being too different so as to separate them too much, is it's smart. So the vocals, the sing's sorted. The track at 4 minutes 35 is it's really compositionally intriguing. We have the more sort of straightforward sort of like new metalish kind of stuff going on with the power chords and octave parts of the guitar. We have less distinct leady elements there. I was expecting there to be a bass solo or a guitar solo or something like that in this track. And granted, there are some technical guitar parts, such as the tremolo picked bits in the second verse. And I think the drums are phenomenal. I appreciate the fluidity in regards to playing the different sort of straight 4/4 and sort of swing parts and like the jazzy sections, and then the kind of more sort of like bouncy stuff in the later half there. I appreciate the ability to switch going from like the halftime stuff to full bore to full double time, or no, it's not double time, it's normal time. There's halftime and then there's normal time. We don't necessarily go double time at some point unless that's more of a fill iteration. But it's doing stuff like at the beginning where we simply have those sort of buzz roll snares as like a filtered effect there, almost to elevate things, but very, very slowly. We don't have the drums as a dominant force until later in the game, around that first chorus or something like that. And I think that's a smart move because it allows the track to develop without being too much at once. I mean, like that part where it goes show do teki, it's ridiculous. Like the technique with the Ghost 16th triplets and stuff like that, working the ride cymbal and doing lots of fun stuff. It's just really creative percussion that adds a real sense of personality to it. And to be fair, there might have been some sort of sub-leads, some sub-leady guitar bits exploring the modes and scales proportionate, but it's not like we had a dominantly guitar solo or anything like that there. It's not me trying to minimize the effort put in to make the instrumental parts compelling. It's just that we had the vocals as a main throughout. But I think the tom work that we also had later on in the sort of interlude section or before the final part was great as well. We completely divorced ourselves from the cymbal focus, and that's just another way to change up a track to and make it more compelling, is to focus on another part with less of the high end, so that you can have maybe some glitter from some of the upper arpeggiated guitar parts, or some of the tremolo picked ones or whatever. Because a lot of the focus, again, was on those harmonized octave chords in the guitars roaring on top of the power chords, which is the great mid to low end resonance, or like mid to low mids. And then the guitar, the vocals kind of harmonize the mids to highs there, and they just notch really neatly. You've got the bass and the low end. There wasn't as much going on with the bass as I would typically expect, but that's not a complaint. It's just that I understand that the bassist from BAND-MAID is incredibly technically savvy. And so I feel like this track was more one where it was trying to explore different styles or genres and moods of music, and it's less of a focus on their actual ability to play the instruments. So you typically either have both or you try and do one or the other, and this is one where we tried to do one or the other, and I think that it was a smart move. We were very sort of loyal to the chord progressions and root notes that were instantiated. Again, we had a great sort of idea, a presence with the bass and the drums and understanding how they needed to flow with each other. The bass did have an identity, don't get me wrong. And I think that with some of the other sort of sub kind of leady kind of trickery that was going on with some of the guitar parts there, I think if the bass had also been doing stuff, it might have been too much. But I just also want to comment before I go that I think that when we had less, such as in the intro section, the Strymon reverb and delay stuff going on the sides was just absolutely, it's beautiful. The way they filtered that, so it was only the 230 to 300 hertz and up there, so it floated with the reverb tails. The main vocalist, just so stunning in their range with little vibratos and melodic tails and stuff like that, just shimmering and shining in the piece there with the buzz roll snares underneath. It's really well done. So I feel like this is one of their most composition, like the diversity in here was striking. And thematically, I simply feel as if this is a piece that is trying to take you on a journey through the different angles and elements of the forbidden tale that they're trying to spin. And I think that having different styles of music, different sort of sounds and textures and tone, well, not necessarily, because a lot of these instruments were consistent with how they sounded throughout. Like, sure, we had sort of reverb kind of like effects laden cleans versus the distorted guitars and the rhythm and leads, but what I mean is it's just it's more the changes and the progressions and the affectations of them that add a sense of diversity here. So thematically, I think it's simply trying to sort of hype you up with the pull of the culmination of all the different heavier elements in the chorus section, get you hyped up to kind of raise your voice and kind of sing out. But I think it also comes down a little bit, gets a little more sort of refined in some of those quieter parts there. And it's sort of, even when the toms kind of come in, almost like a 16th note groove at halftime, it's simply trying to get you to go, okay, we'll continue to march on and trudge through this and we'll find our way through it. So I feel like instrumentally it's more the journey you go on rather than a single chord progression trying to tell you an individual message. And I feel like if you combine all these different elements together, they're quite musically cohesive, make a lot of sense, and I don't think there's no out of place. The studio recording, mixing and mastering, I think is tight. I've got no complaints at all about how it was, like everything was heard. The guitars, bass, drums, and vocals were all nicely niched within the frequency spectrum and stereo field. I appreciate the fact as well that it was just a really clean sounding recording. They could clearly play their instruments, so there didn't need to be any fixing in post. When they did add sort of reverb and delay towers and sort of notch frequencies and stuff like that, it was an atmospheric effect which made sense, and they had heavier elements as well. So there's dynamic range through that alone, outside of simply there being quieter parts or points where it just completely stopped. Such as in the there's a part before the first or set, like there were breaks in the track where it literally paused there. And structurally, I just think that's really intriguing. Having like blank space in a piece is just nice because it forces you to question what's going to happen next. If you just have a song go up, down, even if there is dynamic range, it can be less interesting because of that. So I appreciate that as well. I just didn't mention that earlier in the structure section, but ultimately, I just think it was commercial grade in regards to the studio work. Of no complaints. The singers can clearly sing, and it was nice and loud with that pumping, so the bass compression and limiting was handled. But effectively, this is my review of this track from an act named BAND-MAID, titled Forbidden Tale, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. If there is a band or a musician that you'd like me to check out, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Also, we have live streams where you can get like song requests done. They are on the Discord, link in the description. Also, we have the Patreon where you can get monthly custom videos if you want to do that as well. Dedicated videos that go on the channel. But stay cool, Shredders. Have a fantastic 2025. Spiderhands out.